All right, welcome back, everybody. I am extremely excited to have Jeff Kauffman on today. One of my favorite people to talk to at this intersection of kind of brands, big brands, NFTs, Web3. We're going to go over a lot of exciting things here. So thanks so much for joining me today, Jeff.
Super pumped to be here.
Awesome, man. So before we get into everything that we're about to dive into, can you just give the audience here a quick background on yourself and just a little bit about your journey into crypto and Web3?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say my journey started in 2005 with, and my background is marketing and advertising. Started with Myspace, uh, which is like the OG of community building and social media. But yeah, I started building community in 2005, fell in love with the way the internet can sort of bring tribes of people together around an endless number of passions, and then found my way naturally working in sort of the large agency world with a bunch of big brands like Fruit of the Loom, GameStop, Chick-fil-A. So kind of lived the big enterprise agency life for about 15 years. And all the while sort of seeing crypto and Bitcoin out of the side of my peripheral. And but between 2009 and 2020, crypto was really like very finance driven, very tech driven, very developer driven. So it never quite felt like a space for sort of brands to play in and sort of this cultural element. But towards the start of 2020 is when I came across the concept of social tokens and NFTs. So that's kind of the 15 years leading up to 2020. And then this light bulb kind of going off that says, oh my gosh, crypto and Web3 and blockchain is about to have its sort of cultural moment, its media moment, and by default, its brand moment.
And was there a specific, when you say an aha moment, was there a specific event, or was it just kind of a culmination of things that you finally just said, hey, and woke up to, hey, this is the future? Or was there a specific event that kind of, set you off on that?
I would say the specific event started with the frustration, and the frustration is not too different than the frustration that we've seen on the monetary side of Web3, which is ownership. And so ownership began the frustration. So if you're a marketer or you're a brand and you've spent the last 10 years in Web2 and social and building your brand, you've essentially accepted the handcuffs of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and these big sort of Goliath intermediaries that you're essentially renting communication. And while it all started out sort of with roses to build online communities, that's not how it turned out. So just being very frustrated about not being able to own your content, own your brand, and build true relationships with your customers, and do like that really fun work in brand building, it sort of led me down this path to just try to figure out what's next, because the world of Facebook and YouTube, it's just a race to the bottom. And we can, I think anybody that works in this space understands, the dynamics of those ads platforms and how it just is a race to the bottom. So I started looking for what's next because I just couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't play that game. It wasn't creative. It wasn't innovative. And I just couldn't see myself for the next 5 years running the agency P&L that I was running built around that system. And so when I went down sort of the rabbit hole of just what is the next emerging platforms for media, I somehow came across the concept of social tokens. And when I saw it, and I sort of recognized this idea that a group of people centered around whatever passion could hold this token. And then that was the thread that connected them together, and sort of understanding how, we don't have the right UX and UI right now to unlock that thread. I like to just call it a social graph. It's Web3's social graph. Mm-hmm. But I could very easily see how a group of people that held this digital thing that's empowered by the blockchain, that they could then move together as a tribe across the internet. and that brands could be a very critical component to helping those communities thrive and sort of come together. And that just kind of lit the fire back as far as what the internet and Web3 could kind of bring us back to.
Yeah, and so that was, early 2020, and
Yep.
I love that you're not just talking the talk, you're actually walking the walk, right? So fast forward now towards, the end of 2021, you've actually built this incredible community called Jump around, let's say bridging the gap between traditional marketing and CMOs and helping them understand NFTs,
Yep.
Web3, how they can leverage that. Maybe talk a little bit about, what is Jump? How is it structured? And what's really interesting to me is what does that average demographic look like within your community, or who are you targeting? Because that is a bit different, I think, from your traditional, let's say, Web3 community that's out there today.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I fell down the rabbit hole and got absolutely obsessed with this, I did what any good agency person does. I put together a trends deck and I presented it to all of my peers. So a nice spectrum of agency principals, creatives, digital strategists, account managers. And then remember, this is 2020. So NFTs had not reached the mainstream the way that they have today. Every conversation was exactly the same. It was, holy cow, this is incredible. I have no idea where to start. And when you hear that over and over, I have no idea where to start, it eventually dawns on you, people need a starting point. All right. It's too early to just go out there and try to start building products and services. While there actually are a lot of good products and services being built, we actually need this community layer. And that's where the idea of Jump came from, to help brands and marketers jump into Web3. Super simple. And that the whole premise there is we learn by doing. We can read about this stuff all day long. Obviously, a podcast like this is great to sort of get these ideas out there, but it's so different once you get into it, and that it's so nuanced. It's like it's like learning the internet for the first time, and logging on for the first time and understanding how to use email for the first time. It's just very, very different. And so that's what Jump is designed to do, is be a place for brands and marketers. The profile of the community has been absolutely fascinating to watch come to life. So I would say probably every major holding company, agency holding company, so like the Omnicoms and the Publicis of the world, have someone inside of their organization floating around inside of Jump. A lot of Fortune 1000 brands have individuals floating around inside of Jump. And so we've got this really great sort of community from the old world, if you will, that are experiencing and talking about Web3. And then a bit of a surprise, well, it shouldn't be a surprise, but it wasn't something I expected so soon. But there's a whole world of Web3 marketers that are working for protocols and other DAOs, and they have found their way into Jump. So it's becoming this sort of meeting ground between the very cutting edge marketers that are in it every single day, doing work for these great protocols, and then these big brands and these big agencies kind of meeting in our Discord. So it's been a lot of fun.
Hey, if you like this clip, be sure to check out the full interview and more only on realvision.com/crypto. It's 100% free. Sign up now.